Freedom is the soul of art. Has a nice ring to it. And now we welcome our second Jamie of the night, Jamie Browne Lynch, and his speech about the role of culture in society. He describes how culture is a powerful motivator and how easily it can be manipulated and turned into a monoculture.
Without culture and the relative freedom it implies, society, even when perfect, is but a jungle. This was once said by famous French author and Nobel Prize winner Albert Camus. Today, I'm going to talk about the role of culture in our society. Let us ask ourselves, what is culture and is it even important? Now let us ask ourselves, when do we learn about the cultures of our world or even the cultures of our own country? For example, there is an ongoing debate as to whether the Irish language, a massive part of our culture, is even important. Ask yourself that question. I'm sure there's a common answer among most of you, but I personally believe that the Irish government has a major role in ensuring the protection of our national language, and even I as a student play a role in this. And as Padraig Pearse said, Tír gan Teanga is Tír gan Anam. I'm sure a few of you in the room know what that means, but for the rest of you, it means a country without a language is a country without a soul. I think we would all regret the day that we lost this part of our culture. This shows that culture can mean many different things to many different people. Think about what it might mean to you. For me, culture is what binds people together. It can be a religion, shared history, or even ideals. It is something that people are willing to fight for and protect, and it can lead to a sense of belonging and inclusion. Blackrock College, for example, promotes that very same sense of belonging and inclusion, and this can be seen through all the extracurricular activities it encourages. It's true that like-minded people work well together and are compelled to achieve more. To think that there are examples of entire nations fighting for culture in the past. Do you think that the 300 Spartans in the Battle of Thermopylae would have protected King Leonidas from the 100,000 Persians without the knowledge that they were fighting for their status as the liberators of Greece and its many cultures? Although the task was great, their motivation was even greater. An ex-Canadian Prime Minister, John Abbott, recognized the power of culture as a motivator when he said, "Every man's ability can be strengthened and increased by culture." As I said, that sense of belonging and inclusion can be a powerful motivator, but it can also be used as a front to coerce or exploit, and this can lead to very dangerous or sinister situations. Unfortunately, there are multiple examples in history of situations where culture has been used as a front to further individuals' own agendas. For an example, in Europe, we can look at Pope Urban II. Pope Urban II exploited his power, the shared identity, and common beliefs of his followers to wield the Crusades and embark on a 200-year massacre fueled by a culture of greed and his will to extend the reign of his power. We need look no further than the decline of the samurai in Japan to see how an individual's fear of losing power and status can lead to the destruction of an ancient culture. The emperor was embracing Western ideals, and this frightened samurai, as they feared the wealth and position that came with their unique status as a military guard was in jeopardy. Therefore, led by Saigo Takamori, the samurai rebelled and were slaughtered. The ancient culture of the samurai was decimated and are now extinct because of the greed of Saigo and other samurai. The takeaway from this is something that we see too often: pure greed. In terms of culture, we as a society are at an important crossroads. And the choice is a multicultural world where we are free to pursue any culture versus a monoculture. Throughout history, multiculturalism has wrongly been seen as the bar to progression. We need look no further than Ireland. The British attempted to crush Irish culture to make Ireland more in line with Britain. The Nazi regime attempted to what they would call progress Europe by eliminating other cultures. The British yet again slaughtered the Zulus in order to progress the region. And for an example of this in the modern age, we need look no further than the tragic situation in Ukraine. Mahatma Gandhi, one of the most important activists for culture and peace, famously stated that no culture can live if it seeks to be exclusive. People worldwide are ignoring culture. Leaders like Putin are prime examples of how we as a society are changing. On one hand, we're trying to have a golden age of humanity. Enough food, no poverty, and a goal to atero dominatus, or destroy tyranny worldwide. But on the other, we've had so much tunnel vision about achieving this goal that we have ignored or even harmed our own cultures in this search for perfection. This monoculture peddled by countries like America is not only dangerous, but if we don't do something about it soon, it'll become a global scourge, and we run the risk of extinguishing cultures. Just imagine a world where we have unknowingly submitted to this search for perfection and in turn ignored or even destroyed our own cultures. We run a serious risk of being just as bad as those villains we read about in the history books. To end, I'll use an analogy to help make it clearer. Society is like a tree, and culture its many different nutrients. If we have a monoculture, we are effectively starving the tree of all other nutrients. And while it might stand for some time, it will eventually collapse, like all withered trees. The vital role of culture in society cannot be underestimated, but should be protected and allowed to flourish. Perfection is not attainable, and certainly not with a harmful monoculture. We are on the verge of a crisis, as leaders worldwide are using culture as a front for greed and their own goals of ethno-nationalism. But now I pose a question to you. Do you want to continue on our current trajectory of destruction, or do you see the true role of culture in our society? Thank you.